You are listening to the Navigating Adult ADHD podcast with your ADHD coach and expert, Zena. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Navigating Adult ADHD and welcome back to it being recorded in New Zealand. I am back at home. I just spent the last 3.5 weeks in Hawaii and it was delicious and amazing and warm while it's like freezing cold in winter here in New Zealand. And life was still 50-50. It's so interesting. Everybody's like, it must have been amazing. And yes, it was. And I also experienced a lot of anxiety while I was there. I experienced a lot of missing my family, like missing my people back at home. Like it was incredible and amazing and wonderful, and life was still 50-50. It's not like the whole time you're there, you're experiencing just positive, fantastic, wonderful emotion. And I don't say that because I want you to feel sorry for me. Fuck no. No, I say that just to be like, hey, even when your life is going really, really well and things are wonderful and you're experiencing things that you are looking forward to, there's still the good and the bad. There's still contrast, right? Like you can be on holiday and get sick, for example. I've done a lot of world travel, and believe me when I say I've had some horrible experiences like that. But they become very good travel stories. But it was just fascinating to me that my brain had really thought, oh, we're gonna have so much positive emotion when we were there, and it was so evident that life is still 50-50 and that there's like positive emotion and negative emotion. It was just different positive emotions and different negative emotions. Fascinating to me. You know I love this shit, right? All right, my friend, I am so excited for today's episode because talking about emotions is one of my favorite things. I find them fascinating, and emotions really are everything. So before we dive into today's episode and ways that emotional dysregulation may show up, I just wanted to let you know that next weekend, if you are listening to this in real time, so that is Saturday the 23rd of August 2025, we have New Zealand's ADHD Conference in Auckland, and I am going to be one of the speakers. I'm incredibly grateful and honoured to have been asked back to speak again this year and to be sharing the stage with, there are 6 speakers in total, and the event runs from, I think the speakers start at 10 a.m, so 10 till 4, but doors open, I think, around 9 a.m. because they have different vendors and so forth, like in the lobby area. So there's, a lot of amazing ADHD-related information and products and services, and then, of course, all of the talks, and there's, so many, like one of my favorite things actually about it, I remember standing on the stage and being like, holy shit, like I'm in a room full of color. There are so many colorful, bright, fun, fantastic, fabulous outfits and just loud people, like in terms of like what they wear. Like I'm not typically like a very loud person, like in person, but I wear loud things, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm with my people, right? So it's just so wonderful to be amongst a group of people. And I think last year there was roughly 1,000 people, I want to say. I think this year there will be less, but a group of like-minded people who get it, people who know what it's like to have ADHD, right? So if you hear this in time and you are in Auckland or wanting to travel, like me, willing to travel, I would love to see you. And if you are going to be there, I really hope I get to meet you. Please come and say hi. I promise I don't bite, but I do hug. And I'm always like, oh, do I hug you? Do I not? Like, I'm a hugger. So, if you're a hugger, just tell me because I'm a hugger. But yeah, come and say hi. I'm not great at small talk, I have to admit. Like, I like to talk about real shit. So, like, if I dive right in, don't be surprised. If I tell you my whole life story, like, as soon as we meet, that's just normal. I love doing that. And it's way more interesting, right? And then we have a connection. I love it. Okay. So yes, if you are there, I would love to meet you. Please come and say hello. Okay. So if you want to get tickets as well, I will actually pop a link here in the show notes, but you head to the My Spirited Child website. So that is the company that put it on, called myspiritedchild.com. Okay. All right, my friends, let's talk about emotional dysregulation. And we really need to start at the beginning, because in order to understand what dysregulation is, we need to know what the heck is emotional regulation. Okay? So emotional regulation is the ability to feel, process, and respond to our emotions in healthy ways. Okay, so if you have ever watched, and if you haven't, my friend, you've got to watch it, the film Bad Boys. I think there's like 3 of them maybe now. I love Bad Boys, okay, and you can't go wrong with the original, the first one, right? So when Mike Lowry is like poking and prodding and like pushing Marcus's buttons, basically, what Marcus does is he massages his ears and he goes, woo-sa, woo-sa. And he's doing that like to like dial down his anger and not like yell at Mike or like attack him or something. But when he does that, he is demonstrating emotional regulation. Okay. When my partner is like dealing with a situation with the boys, like, hello, 3 boys, of course they're going to like yell and scream and fight and try and kill each other, what have you. When he's navigating that and he pauses to take a deep breath and count to 5, right? That is him demonstrating emotional regulation. So one of the ways I like to think about it is it's like having a remote control for your feelings. It's the ability to hit pause, to think before you react or respond, right? And then turn down the volume on your emotions. Okay? Now, having emotional regulation skills, those people who, are able to regulate their emotions, it doesn't mean that they never get anxious or that they never get afraid or angry or upset, okay? It simply means that they have the ability and tools to be able to navigate and respond to those feelings in healthier ways, okay? Now, emotional dysregulation, well, it's basically the opposite of that. So emotional dysregulation is when we have difficulty managing, feeling, responding to our emotions in ways that are considered healthy. Okay? Now, what do we know? We know that emotional dysregulation is a core symptom of ADHD. And in my opinion, and I'm sure in many of yours as well, it is one of the hardest ones for us to navigate. Because our emotions impact everything. Okay? Our emotions impact our work or our study. They impact our relationships with everybody in our life, right? Our ability to work on our goals, to, achieve things. So again, I think emotional regulation is so much like having a remote control for your feelings. Our neurotypical friends, our people who don't have any, forms of neurodiversity, they are often able to hit pause when they get angry, right? Or when they get upset. They're often able to hit pause and think before they respond or react. They're also able to turn down the volume. Now, for those of us with ADHD, we feel our feelings on loud. Our emotions, all of them, the good, the bad, all of them, right? They are intense. This is part of having emotional dysregulation, is this intense emotions that are constantly loud inside of us. And our remote control for our feelings, the batteries don't always work. You guessed it, right? We struggle to pause, and sometimes we might be able to hit the pause button, but a lot of the time it just doesn't work, right? We can't even find the remote, right? And then the volume, being able to turn down the volume, our volume is stuck at full blast. It's on 100 and we just can't turn it down. So often we will yell and slam doors and become a keyboard warrior because we just want to get that anger and that frustration and those emotions. We want to get them out in the hopes that we can turn this volume down. So let's take a look at what emotional dysregulation can look like. So I'm going to go through 6 ways that it may show up in our lives, okay? So number 1, going from 0 to 100, right? Going from fine one moment to losing your shit the next. right? Hello, all or nothing. So maybe this looks like, you're sitting on the couch and you're just scrolling on your phone and you're fine. And then the next minute you're like yelling at the kids, telling them to turn the TV down, like losing your shit, right? Like seemingly completely okay one moment and then just click, losing it. It could be that you get an email from your boss asking for a quick chat. Can we have a quick chat? And immediately, right, you've gone from like feeling good about your day. Hey, it's Friday, like everything's going well. And then you get that email and immediately you spiral into like, oh my God, I need to update my CV. Like I need to delete all of the personal files off of my work laptop. Like how am I going to pay rent? Like, oh my God. I need to find out later that they just wanted to say nice work on this project. Right? Again, it's such an all or nothing kind of a response that we can have going from 0 to 100. So the second way that emotional dysregulation can show up is the high highs and the low lows, right? When you are good, you are great. Everything is great. And when you are down, you are really low. Like your lows are really, really low and everything is terrible and awful. This can also appear to other people as like being moody, or like they may say like, oh, you're kind of like an emotional roller coaster. Right? I remember I would go into work, and I've shared this story before, like I had this one colleague and I still remember her saying to me, you're always so moody, like I never know what I'm going to get with you. And I totally get it now, because I would go into work and one day I would be like on top of the clouds, like loving my job, like this is awesome, this is so fun, like this is so, I love life, everything's great. And then the next day I would go into work and I'd be like doom and gloom and like, oh, I just don't want to be here, like this is so hard, like everything sucks, like ugh, right? Like again, it was like all or nothing, high highs, low lows, but yeah, that moodiness. So here's another example. Perhaps you land a new client and you're just buzzing. You're like on top of the world, convinced that this is the start of like building your empire, and you're like, this is what you were destined to do and all of this. And then 2 days later, they reschedule the meeting, and then you're lying on the couch convinced everything is over and I'm never going to make it. Why did I even think I could do this in the first place? Like those extremes. So the third way emotional dysregulation may show up is getting more upset than other people in the same or similar sort of situations to you. All right, so I've got a few examples of this. So it could be that your partner forgets to buy milk on the way home, right? And you're not just like mildly annoyed, you feel personally betrayed. Like you just can't trust them to do anything ever. Like why did you even think that they could do this? Of course they can't. Right? And meanwhile, they're probably saying to you, hey, I can just go back to the shop. Like, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. Right? Again, like getting more upset than other people in like certain situations. So another one that I see quite often is there is a change in your workplace and you're not happy about it. Right? And you and your colleagues, you talk about it all day and you're kind of like pissed about it and you're just like, going over and over it together. But even weeks later, you are still obsessing over it, like ruminating on it, staying up, thinking about it, replaying it, trying to like bring it up all of the time, like constantly annoyed about it, even when everyone else has seemingly moved on and just like embraced the changes and got on with it. Right? Like really holding on to things like that. So it could also be somebody cutting you off in traffic. I don't know what traffic is, but traffic. So if somebody cuts you off in traffic, and I have been this person, right? And then you're like gripping the steering wheel, or you may be flipping them the bird, right? Giving them the middle finger, right? And you're muttering like about what a shit person they are and like, where did they get their license and all of this? Well, the person in the passenger seat is just like, happens all the time. Not a big deal. Right? Like notice like the discrepancies in the way in which you react and respond to something that other people might just shrug off or just not be bothered by. Okay. Another example of this is like if your group chat, like you've got a group chat with your friends, like if they make a joke and you think that joke might be about you and like they've moved on within like a matter of minutes, right? You are still stewing about that hours or days or weeks later, convinced that they were all just laughing at your expense, right? Again, it's like feeling like your emotions are so intense, like they take over. They're so much louder than everyone else's. Okay? Now that, like, getting more upset than other people in a certain situation really feeds kind of into number 4, which I see a lot, and this is me to a T, my friend. This is my flavor of emotional dysregulation for sure. And that is having a low frustration tolerance, right? Or like what's seen as like a short fuse to other people, okay? So it could be that you are trying to put together like flat pack furniture. Gotta love me some flat pack furniture, right? And the screwdriver slips once, and next minute you're like throwing things against the wall and muttering about like giving up and like burning the whole thing down, and you're just like walking out of the room, right? I've shared the story before on the podcast where my partner and I were both making dinner. He's making some pasta for him and the kids. I was making something else. And I turned to him and I said, "Oh, hey, are you going to do a carrot? Do you want me to grab you a carrot out to put in that? We normally grate a carrot for this meal." And he just looks at me and goes, "Nah, can't be bothered." And that was it. That was all it took for me to lose my shit. I was like, "Oh my God, are you serious? It's the easiest way to get, vegetables and sneak vegetables in for the kids, and it's good for them and blah, blah, blah." Like in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter. It's just not that big of a deal, right? But like little things like that just really tick us off, right? Seemingly innocent comments that wouldn't necessarily bother anybody else. Again, that low frustration tolerance. And often what I see, and I hear this story often, and I want to share it so that, if this is you, you're not alone, it can lead to things like punching holes in the wall, right? Like tearing the curtains off the rails, right? The louder the emotion we feel, the louder our reaction or our response to it, okay? So number 5, the 5th way emotional dysregulation may show up is by being overly excited, right? Like that excitability. So maybe you find a new hobby on TikTok, and within hours, you have joined all the Facebook groups you can find. You have ordered all of the gear. You're up till 3 a.m. like researching it. You have told all of your friends that this is your new thing. This is your new life now, right? Or it may be you hear about a weekend getaway spot from a friend, and by the time you finish your coffee, you have booked the accommodation, mapped out all of the activities hour by hour, texted everybody you know about the new annual trip, right? Like just being like consumed by it, and then like talking about it all of the time, like really excited, right? I have this new obsession, let me tell you. My new obsession is coloring in. I got this, it's called, I'm looking at it right now because it's on my desk, of course, Color Me Under the Sea, an adorable coloring book. That's what it says on it. And it's an underwater, and there's a lot of detail in it, but it's underwater coloring, like pictures, right? And I bought a whole bunch of felts, and I also use highlighters because I love bright colors. And I have been obsessively coloring, and I am so excited about it. I think my partner is sick of hearing about it. But it's so funny because me and the ADHD kid in our household have been sitting next to each other coloring. Like before he went to school today, we were like sitting on my bed and we were just coloring in our coloring pictures together, and we were just so happy. But we were talking about going to the bookstore this weekend and looking for new coloring books, and we're talking about the kind of colored pens that we want to buy and all of this. Like, us two ADHDers are fucking loving this shit, right? I love it. But like, I'm so excited about it. Like, it's just the best thing ever, right? Now, often when we get this like overexcitement, it is met with eye rolls from other people, or comments like, "Calm down, it's not that exciting," or, "Chill out, it's not that big of a deal," right? Like, other people don't necessarily understand or meet our excitement. And again, it's having louder emotions, right? Like, our emotions are louder, they are more intense. So the 6th way emotional dysregulation may show up is with difficulty in calming down. This is such a common one for us, okay? Where we can replay a conversation over and over, not just for the rest of that day. I'm talking we can do it for weeks. We could do it for years, right? Replaying a conversation. We can ruminate for the best of them, staring at the ceiling, 3 a.m., wide awake, thinking, oh my God, what did they mean by that? Why did I say that? I should have done this. I could have done this. Like, oh my God, I wish I'd said this in reply, right? Like if there was like an Olympic sport for rumination, I feel like we could win. Just saying. So here are some examples like to paint a picture of what this could look like, the difficulty in calming down, okay? Let's say you're angry after having a heated conversation with your partner, right? Now, even though it's hours later, you had this conversation in the morning and it's the evening time and you're in bed now, you're watching Netflix, but your body is still tense and your brain is just replaying every single word and you feel ready just to jump back into the fight. Maybe you get an unexpected bill in the mail. Okay. And even after you've sorted out the payment, you just can't shake that knot in your stomach for the rest of the day. Like the anxiety that you experienced as soon as you opened that bill and were like, oh fuck, I didn't even know about this. Right. It's like your body didn't get the memo that the problem has been solved. Okay. Again, difficulty calming down. Could be that a coworker makes a slightly critical comment in a meeting, right, that morning. And then even after work, you're pacing the house, replaying, exactly what you should have said in response and feeling your heart race every time you think about it, even long after everybody else has moved on. Okay? So again, that difficulty in calming down, this is what emotional dysregulation can look like. So remember, if you want to recap these, if you want to see them written down and understand them a little bit more, you can grab the free cheat sheet. I have the cheat sheets for every single episode. You just get a 1-page PDF, just recaps the episode, gives you any links that I have mentioned, any key points that are really good to understand, all of that. Okay. You just need to head to, I'll put the link in the show notes, but it's navigatingadultadhd.com/cheat sheet. That's it. It's free. It's easy. And there's one every single week for every episode, okay? A couple of things I do want to say about emotional dysregulation is all behavior is a form of communication, okay? All behavior is a form of communication. When our teenager comes home and slams his door and blasts his music in his room, he is communicating something that he is feeling on the inside, okay? Our behavior when we say punch a hole in the wall, when we slam a door, when we shut down, when we have an outburst, right? Our behavior is communicating what we're feeling and experiencing on the inside. These intense, loud emotions that those of us with ADHD feel, that we experience, right? We are communicating our dysregulation, our difficulty in feeling and expressing these emotions and how loud and intense they are for us. Okay? Emotional regulation is not a choice, but it is a challenge that those of us with ADHD have to navigate. Okay? Now, the good news is that regulation, it was never taught to us in school, so don't expect yourself to know how to do it. There was no class, like maths or English or learning to drive a car. There was no, class on this. All right? But it is something that we can learn and develop with support. So emotional regulation is actually the topic of my keynote at next week's ADHD conference in Auckland. So if you are there, my friend, I can't wait to meet you. All right. Huge love, my friend. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Hey friend, if you want some more help navigating and thriving with ADHD and some help applying everything that you're learning here on the podcast, then head over to our website, navigatingadultadhd.com.